Welcome, everyone in the United States, Canada, and around the world to another episode of It's a Wrap with Rap, the podcast of overcomers and useful information to better our daily life and mental well-being. I am your host, Ron Rappaport. I would like to thank all our listeners, our viewers on our YouTube channel, It's a Wrap with Rap, the podcast uncut, and our sponsors and supporters for making the podcast such a success. The podcast may also be accessed through our website, it's a wrapwithrap.com, where you can find all the episodes, previews of future episodes, and unique products and services offered from our sponsors, as well as the podcast Book Nook, showcasing many of the books our guests have authored that can be purchased on Amazon. My guest today is Zulma Williams. Zuma Williams, known as the swearing therapist, is an inspiring licensed therapist, breast cancer survivor, motivational speaker, and founder of Dragonfly Therapy Services. She specializes in treating anxiety, depression, and trauma. Originally from Argentina, Zulma's life has been a journey across continents and hardships. She has faced discrimination, mental health challenges, the trauma of an abusive relationship, immigration challenges, and a breast cancer diagnosis. Zulma is here with us today to share her transformational story and describe to us the mental tools that helped her and can help those with similar or different challenges survive and thrive against all odds. By listening to or viewing Zuma's discussion today, we will gain valuable insights into reframing adversity, fostering mental health, and rediscovering purpose. Zuma will share her unique approach to therapy, the importance of grounding techniques for managing anxiety, her perspective on motivation and setbacks, and how to challenge negative thoughts. Welcome, Zuma, to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Ron. It's such a pleasure to be here.
It's so glad, so happy to have you. I know we had some issues getting you on, and we're
Yes.
very happy you're here. Uh,
But wait, I am here now.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, we're glad to have you. Now, please tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you were originally in accounting, I think, and why you migrated to the United States. Your years learning to become a therapist, which started, by the way, at age 42, and you finished it with your licensing at age 53 and a half. So, can you tell us
Yes.
about that?
Absolutely. So I was born and raised in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I came to the United States at age 31. The socioeconomic situation in Argentina wasn't the best. I didn't have a job for like 2 years. I was still living with my mom. I didn't have a family of my own, and I was like, well. Let me take an adventure and see what's happening in the United States, because when you have nothing to lose. So I came,
Absolutely, absolutely.
right? So I was like, okay. I came. It was December of 1996. So it was like everything was kind of like out of a movie. Like all the houses were with the Christmas lights, and there was a Christmas spirit, and I was like, oh my God, like I had an uncle and aunt in California, so that's what I originally first went. And, and I remember one time I was walking, and I didn't know. I was like, "Oh my God! Like, what is wrong with the traffic light?" Like, I wanted to cross the street, but I didn't know you had to push the button,
Right, right.
right? So I was like, "Oh my God!" I almost caused an accident because I was tired of waiting, and I crossed the street, and I went to my uncle's home, and I was like talking to my cousins, which were around my age, and I was like, how do you cross the street here? Like, and they were like, oh, they were laughing. I'm like, oh my God, you have to push the button. And so that's a little funny story about the cultural shock of
Yeah.
coming to America. And so then I started working different jobs, and I was transferred by my job from California to Las Vegas. It was a company that was trying to expand their business in Nevada,
Yeah.
and so I was transferred to Nevada, um, and I was um, so then I did different jobs, and ended up working in the accounting department of a big corporation, and I was 42, and I started thinking about, kind of like pondering about my future, and I was like, I love numbers. Numbers are so black and white, right? Like, 2 plus 2 is 4 here in Argentina. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't see myself um, doing this for another 25 years. So I enrolled in school to. I started my Bachelor of Social Work at 42. I graduated at 46, and which is, I think is important for the listeners to realize. I started building my future by a different future by going to school, but I didn't stop my job in accounting. I was working in accounting, and I was working full time and going to school full time, but I started building my future while I still have my present job, right?
Right. Right. Smart thing
And
to do.
so, right. So the idea was to be independently licensed by age 50, but I graduated at 46. And 6 weeks later, I got diagnosed with breast cancer. So I took a break from higher education. I actually moved back to Argentina. I had my surgery and radiation here in the States, but I moved back to Argentina. And 3 years later, I was like, you know how the treatment is. At the beginning, it's like you have appointments all the time, but then it's more like about follow up and
Yeah.
maintenance. And I was like, I think I'm gonna go back to the States. So I asked God for a sign, and out of nowhere, I received an email from University of Nevada, Las Vegas. That's where I did my bachelor's,
Yeah.
inviting me. They were like, um, "Do you wanna enroll in the Advanced Master of Social Work program?" Like, and it was a program that when I graduated, they had removed from the university, and then they reinstated the program 4 years later, and they were inviting all the graduates from the School of Social Work. But the funny thing about that was like, when you're a student at, I'm sure there is in all the universities, like you have a university email. But after a couple of years that you graduate, they deactivate that email. They send that email inviting me to register for the masters to my personal Yahoo account, what they usually don't do. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I want to resign. I got a banner, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I moved back in May of 2015, and my birthday is in June. So I celebrated my 50th birthday while I was in school studying my master's. And I graduated at 51. I did my internship, and which is 3,000 hours, 2,000 hours of direct contact with clients, and 1,000 hours of other. And then I took my clinical exam, and then I became independently licensed at 53 and a half. So
Was that a course of study that you just came up like that, or was that something you were interested in doing?
it, which part, the master's or the internship?
No, the therapy, being a therapist.
Oh, being a therapist, I always throughout my entire life, I had people coming to me and telling me stories and saying like, oh, I never said this to anybody.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, huh, I have a passion for helping others.
Yeah.
I use what I call a lot of common sense, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
if you get anxious and you cannot sleep because you watch the news at night, don't watch the news at night.
Right,
Watch
right,
them
right.
at 5 p.m., right? To me, that's common sense. But okay, if you hear it from me and you apply it and it helps, yay. Um, and I always had that passion, but my
Our podcast guest, Dorsey Ross, an inspirational speaker, podcaster, and ordained minister, was born in 1977 with a rare congenital disability known as Apert syndrome, which occurs in only 1 out of 80,000 to 1 out of 160,000 people. Dorsey has authored his autobiography titled Overcomer: Discovering God's Plan Against All Odds. When Dorsey was born, his forehead was pushed outward. There was no usual soft spot or skull opening in the head to stop the brain from growing, leading him to becoming brain dead. Also, his fingers and toes were fused, meaning he had no movement in them. Doctors gave his parents no hope for his survival and advised them to put him into an institution. His parents refused to do that and trusted that God would do great things in Dorsey's life. Throughout Dorsey's life, he has had to overcome a lot of obstacles and trials, such as being bullied, called names such as monster or freak, told his future was bleak and higher education was out of the question for him. Dorsey has undergone multiple surgeries, totaling 68 in all, many in the facial area to enhance his appearance and correct medical issues that faced him due to his disability. This is not a book that is sad or a pity party of why this is happening to me, but rather a book that gives hope and inspiration to everyone reading it that having faith in God's plan for you and dispelling the untruths people may tell you about yourself, good things will be in store for your life. Who is this book for? It is such an encouraging book that everyone should read it, especially those struggling with disabilities, life problems, and doubt. Dorsey shares the incredible story of his life and how he discovered God's plan for his life. Along the way, his story will encourage and inspire you to see yourself the way God sees you and that you are loved and here for a unique purpose. The book, Overcomer: Discovering God's Plan Against All Odds, is available in paperback and Kindle format from Amazon.
mom had bad experiences with therapists in Argentina. So when I was 19, 20, she was like, if you want to do this, that's fine, but I'm not gonna help you because she wouldn't support that. So um, at 42 and in a different country, I was like, no, you know what? Like this is my passion. So I took the social work route with the intention of doing the clinical path and being a therapist. A lot of clinicians like they're like, oh, I'm not sure what I want to do. No, I knew I wanted to be a
Oh,
therapist.
okay. That's
I'm
good.
almost 53 years old. Like I better know what I want to do, right? Like so.
Yeah, it's about
Uh,
time. Yeah. Let's figure this out. Uh,
right.
yeah. Now, how did your mental health journey begin? You wrote that you suffered from anxiety, depression, and trauma and discrimination. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I yes. So I living um, in Argentina it creates a lot of anxiety because you don't know where like you don't know if you're going to have a job tomorrow. Like it's very stressful to live in an environment where like we had only one car. It was the family car. Only my dad growing up. Only my dad drove the car right, because we didn't have enough money for insurance and gas, and it's not something like so. We rode the bus, and from where we live to most of where the jobs were in the city, it was a 2 hour ride in the bus. So 2 hours to go, 2 hours to come back, and it's just like a stressful situation in general. And
Yeah.
is and people get a tendency to be very depressed because it's like the situation in the country doesn't allow you to like. I always say I didn't become a hard-working individual when I came to the States. I was already hardworking, but over there, you had to be hardworking in order to survive.
Yeah.
Here, you are hardworking, and I can rent my own apartment, and I can have my car, and like things that seem like very basic, but
Yeah.
over there, you don't have them.
Well, I
So,
remember being in Argentina. They've had many, many financial crises over there.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And the public transportation system is a lot better than in a lot of like better than in Henderson in Nevada where I'm at now, right? Because like you have buses that will take you everywhere because a lot of people don't have cars.
Right,
And
right, right,
and even if they have a car, it, maybe they cannot use it every day.
right.
So it was a very stressful environment. And my parents divorced, separated. Divorce was not even legal in Argentina at that time, but my dad left when I was 8. So I grew up with my mom. um, I'm the youngest of 4, and it was just a lot of different environmental situations. And then I moved here, and I have, although I was super excited for the adventure, I had um, cultural shock moving here. I didn't know the language, so I knew how to write and read, but I didn't speak the language. Actually, when I landed uh, at the first US airport, they were asking me, and I'm like, I'm innocent, I'm innocent. Like I didn't know what he was asking me, and he went like that. And then he went and got a paper, and he has the questions on the paper. I was like, oh yeah, no, yes, because it was like, was your luggage with you the entire time, and did
Oh
you have
yeah,
something
yeah,
that
yeah. Yeah.
the
They
usual.
they didn't have Google Translate at that time.
What you don't know? This is 1996.
Yeah,
Internet was not even a thing.
I know.
Uh, so and then like little things. It was a huge adjustment, but like I went to um, a school in California to learn English as a second language, and it was kind of like the same thing that in Argentina. Like there was a lot of us, so we didn't get to practice verbal communication.
Hmm.
And then I moved into what will be considered a white neighborhood, and that's when I start speaking the language because I was like, one of the first things I learned how to say was more slowly, please, right? Because we have a tendency to speak very fast in our first language. And
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what you're saying. So I was like, more slowly, please, and that's like how I started communicating. And then by starting, then I was in an abusive, in an emotionally and mental and verbal abusive relationships. It was like, wow, like so. In the cancer diagnosis was traumatic too, and so it was like a lot of different situations that at the time that I was experiencing them, and I had a therapist who inspired me to pursue the career in therapy, also in addition to my passion to helping others. Because while I was in going through the abuse in my relationship, she said, you are being abused. And I was like, oh no, he doesn't touch me. Because to me, abuse was physical abuse. Like,
Physical, yeah,
right,
yeah.
right. Like I beat you up and I sent you to the hospital. That's
Right.
abuse, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, yeah.
and then I learned about verbal abuse and emotional abuse.
Sure.
And I was like, oh, I would like to bring more awareness to the community, and especially being Hispanic, there are a lot of things that are ingrained in the culture
Right.
of like, you're a woman, you shut up, and like your voice is not valued. I'm talking 20 years ago, but still, it's like it's part of the culture that the man is one in charge.
Yeah.
And my ex-boyfriend, the one who was being abusive, is from Argentina too. So it was kind of like a little island of the culture in here.
Yeah.
Um, so she helped me, my therapist, she helped me rebuild myself and my self-esteem. And it was a lot of work, and it was like a lot of learning and a lot of information. And I was like, as a Hispanic woman myself, because it's not that I just speak Spanish, is I know the culture,
Yeah.
because I was over there like almost half of my life. I'm going to turn 60 this year. So for 31 years, I was there. So
Sure.
it's not like, oh, I'm reading about the culture in the book. It's like, no, no, no.
Right.
Like whatever my dad said when, and whatever my older brothers, because he's the firstborn, said, it goes, right? Like, so um, to kind of like break that stigma and bring a lot more awareness into
Right.
the Hispanic community.
And that must have given you some passion because you had that inroad. I can do this. I have the background. I just need the clientele.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's reassuring when I have a woman, it doesn't need to be from Argentina. If it's from South America,
Right.
where like I understand the culture, although it might be from Mexico, it might be from Colombia, it doesn't
Exactly.
matter. The culture is the same.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you don't have to explain it to, I mean, yes, you share how.
The It's a Wrap with Rap podcast, guest and acclaimed Australian historical fiction thriller author Paul Rushworth Brown has just had his new book, Outback Odyssey, released. Paul is a true storyteller with a unique journey and a life filled with adventure and diverse experiences. From a foster home in England to a path leading him to playing soccer professionally in Canada in 1972, to reuniting with his father in 1982 in Australia, Paul honed his skills as an educator in 2002, but found his true passion and calling as a writer in 2015. Paul's historical fiction novels are a testament to his authenticity and grit, woven with unexpected twists and turns that will leave the reader breathless. With vivid narratives, he paints a realistic portrait of life in past decades, setting the stage for suspenseful, mysterious, and thrilling tales tinged with romance. Paul's latest novel, Outback Odyssey, will take you on an epic journey through 19th century Australia, blending historical adventure with a powerful mix of survival, identity, and the collision of cultures. This immersive tale follows the lives of those drawn to the vast, untamed land, some in search of opportunity, others fighting to protect what is rightfully theirs. At its heart, the book is about the story of Jimmy, a young Englishman seeking a new life in the Australian wilderness in the 1950s, which mirrors thousands of British emigrants who sought new opportunities in Australia in the wake of World War II, whereby the Australian government encouraged mass migration to bolster the workforce and expand rural settlements under the Populate or Perish initiative. Jimmy's story reflects the hopes, struggles, and cultural clashes experienced by these migrants as they navigated the complexities of their journey and new home. Through vivid storytelling, Outback Odyssey brings to life the breathtaking beauty and unforgiving harshness of the outback while exploring the struggles of those who call it home. It is a tale of friendship, betrayal, resilience, and love, woven with the profound questions of who belongs, what must be fought for, and what is truly worth saving. The book, Outback Odyssey, is available in bookstores and online.
It's affecting you personally. But you don't
Right,
have to explain all the background like
right.
I had to explain
You've
to
got all
my
the external
therapist.
background. Yeah,
Right, because my therapist, she is American. She was born and raised here, and I will say something like, "Well, because he says so," or whatever, and she would look at me and she said, "So," like, right? I get it, but it was so ingrained in me that
yeah,
I didn't even realize that. Oh, like like that I had a voice,
yeah.
but I found it. clearly.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's a good thing. Now you were diagnosed with breast cancer at age 46. And we both share that similarity because I've had two bouts of male breast cancer. What was your
Um,
reaction when the doctor broke the news to you, and what was your mindset going forward? Also, do you believe mindset alone can help with the healing process?
I think that my mindset alone is a huge, so not alone, but in the big scheme of the healing, yes, it's absolutely paramount to have a good mindset. So when the doctor first broke the news to me, and I would like your perspective since we are sharing that, and I'm glad that you are doing well. It's always a good day when we wake up and
Yeah,
we are doing well, right?
I'm
Like
glad we're both doing well.
right,
Yeah,
exactly.
right.
When I first got the news, my first reaction was, "Why me?" But after a couple of a short time of thinking about it. So I don't have children myself, but I have my mom at that time. She was alive. So I have my mom, I have my sister, I have nieces, I have girlfriends.
Yeah,
So it was more like, oh, if it wasn't me, would I have preferred that it was one of them? So the question changed from why me to why not me.
right.
So I move away from the victim mentality,
Yeah,
right? Why me? Why not me? And then when I move into the why not me question, the next step was to make a decision about what am, what is it that I'm going to do with this. I can sit in the corner and cry myself and wait to die, or I'm going to get up and fight.
right.
Well, spoiler alert, like 12 years cancer free, right? Like, so I'm winning the fight. But once I decided that I was going to stand up and fight, it was on. Like giving up was not in my radar. Like so,
Yeah,
it's always a choice. But it was like, oh, people told me like, oh, you are so strong. I didn't know that being weak was an option, right?
I didn't
So,
either. Yeah, yeah.
right, like
Well, you
we
can't.
are.
I always say, similar to what you say, and I say it now because I've been doing podcasting. I wasn't saying it back then as much, but people will say, "Why is this happening to me? Poor me. Why is this happening to me?" Start asking yourself, "Why is this happening for me?"
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, why is
That
this happening
changing.
for me? And you can expound on that to anything, you know,
Yes,
anything in
yes,
life, that doesn't go right. Oh, wait a minute, maybe this is happening for a reason,
yes.
so it's yeah, mindset is very, very big.
Absolutely. So what is it that I'm learning from this?
Right.
Right? Like, because
Right.
if there is, we can find a lesson that is not a wasted circumstance in a wasted event in our lives,
Right.
right?
Absolutely.
So in going back to the mindset, so I will go. So when I first started radiation here, uh, it was funny because they did a tattoo. I don't know if they did that with you,
Yeah.
but they did
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
tattoo in between my breasts to align the machine,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I had that.
Right. So then I go to the first appointment for the radiation, and I was laying on the table, and I had one guy on one side and the other guy on the other side, and they were pulling the sheet underneath me to align me with the machine.
Yeah.
So I start laughing. And I'm like, and they're like, ma'am, are you okay? I'm like, I don't remember the last time two guys were pulling the shit from underneath me. Like it's, so they were like, oh my God, you had to stop laughing. Like we need to, like, okay. So then they explained to me, like, okay, tomorrow when you come, you change here and then you put the gown and then you sit here and we come and get you.
Right. Right.
So the next day, I go there, I change, I'm sitting there waiting to be called, and one of them came out and said, "Oh, you're back," and I said, "Oh, I will not miss my tanning session for anything."
Yeah. Right.
right? So, and then I went to Argentina, and I was the nurses there. You know how they come with the medication, and they ask for your name just to make sure your name and the day of birth and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
So they will come, and I will say, like, what's your last name? And I'm like, I'm Kardashian. I'm Kim Kardashian. Like, don't you recognize me? So then we start laughing, right? And they're like, oh my God, we know you're gonna be okay because of your attitude
Yeah. Yeah.
and how you are. I mean, what do I suppose to? And this is not to say that I didn't have bad days. I'm sure that you had bad days too,
Of
where like,
course.
oh my God, like, how I'm gonna do this. But you cannot be all the time like how you do it. You just do it
Yeah.
one day at a time.
When you're in the fight, you're in the fight, and it's like you block everything out and you go, I'm just going for it. Yeah.
And like, and we do one appointment at a time. We take
Exactly.
one medicine at a time. We get one treatment at a time.
Yeah,
That's how we do it.
I don't know how many you had. I had four chemos and 35 radiation sessions. And actually the worst one, or the one I was most anxious about was the one where they do the tattoo and all that. I thought that was the other ones were easy. You just lay there and.
And it takes longer for them to like position your body than what the radiation is.
I know,
Right.
I know.
But I always say, like, so I'm happy to report that I've been 12 years cancer free. But how I achieved the 12 years was one day at a time,
Yeah,
one pill at a time, one treatment at a time,
right, right,
right?
right.
We do our part, but it's like still 12 years is not going to happen like that. Well, months it's not going to happen like it's going to happen one day at a time. I always say one day is too long, you do 1 hour at a time. And if 1 hour is too long, can you push through whatever it is that you are going through? Can you push through 15 minutes? Can you do this for 15 minutes? Well, yeah, okay. At the end of the 15 minutes, rinse and repeat. Because four of those make 1 hour, 24 of those make one day,
Yeah,
seven of those make 1 week, right? And so on and so forth. I
yeah.
always say, I had cancer. Cancer didn't have me.
That's right. That's right.
And you can apply that to any challenge
Yes,
that anybody is dealing with.
right.
You have 100% track record of overcoming all the challenges that you confronted. You know how I know? Because you're here.
That's right. That's right. And we want to, this podcast is the reason I'm here and the reason you're here is to help people out there listening to this. Yeah,
To realize,
you may have
right?
some hard challenges out there, but you can't give up. You can't go down a rabbit hole. You have to fight through it. And that's the only way you're going to get through it. And nobody can do it for you. You have to do it yourself.
Because this is your path. So
Yeah,
that's why nobody should do it for you, even if they can,
yeah,
because then you are not going to learn your lesson,
right. Now,
right? Or find the treasure that is hidden in that experience.
I think everybody out there listening to this wants to know why you are called the swearing therapist.
I'm keeping it clean. I'm keeping it clean for the show. But I'm called the swearing therapist because I like to keep it real and I swear a lot. I think that being able to is my way of keeping it real with my clients.
Okay.
So if you reach out to me through my website asking for therapy, I will schedule a 15-minute phone consultation to see, what is it that you are looking for, if we are a good fit, all those things. In those 15 minutes, the F word and the S word and the B word is going to come out of my mouth. So if you have a problem with that, I'm not the therapist for you. And I'm okay with that. I will provide you with referrals,
Yeah.
but I worked very hard to have my own practice and to have my own license. So I'm not going to be sitting there in my own office going, oh, fudge, I'm going to say the other F word.
Okay.
Now, I am keeping it clean because this is your show and I'm respectful of if this is your home. But in my home, like I'm going to talk like how I'm going to talk. And I understand this not for everybody, and I'm okay with that. But my client, so with me, it's not like, oh, I'm not sure. No, no, you either we click or we don't.
Yeah,
And
gotcha.
either way, I sleep at night. You know what I mean? Like, so you like me, yay. You don't like me, yay. I give you referrals. But the clients that I work with, they appreciate that I'm direct. Like I'm not.
You're real.
Life is I'm real, and life is too short. I don't have time to be sugarcoating stuff.
Okay, moving on. Did cancer change the way you practice as a therapist?
Cancer changed me as a person. So yes, because I did my master's after my diagnosis. So it just changed me as a person. Therefore, it's going to change me as a professional. So cancer came to show me how bad I wanted to be a therapist because nobody would have blamed me if I went back to accounting. I had cancer, but I was like, okay, wait a minute, let me take care of my health. But I'm gonna do it, right? So cancer came to change my priorities at the time, where I was at the bottom of the list and put me on top of the list because
Mm,
we can now give from an empty vessel. So that's something that I learned firsthand, and it's something that I tell my clients, especially women who have a tendency, I'm overgeneralizing, but women in general have a tendency to take care of everyone else, and
yeah.
they are at the bottom. And it's like, no, if you need this is a necessity. This is not a luxury. We cannot give from an empty vessel. So we have to fill our own cup because if I take care of me, then I'm going to be a better person and a better daughter and a better wife and a better partner and a better therapist and a better whatever
Right.
because I'm taking care of me. And that is something that we shouldn't be putting in other people's hands because that's giving a lot of power, right? If you are responsible, you're making me happy.
Yeah.
It's like, then you can take my happiness away. But
Right.
if I make myself whole and happy, and then let's say a romantic relationship, right? Then I choose you. So being with you is a choice, not a need.
Okay.
Because I am perfectly fine being alone. I learn how to be with myself. I know myself, and I'm okay being on my own. So being with you is a choice rather than, oh my God, I had to have a man. It's like, oh, what do you bring to the table
Yeah.
for me to put makeup on and leave my house? Because I'm really happy at my,
You're
you know.
happy. To all patients and caregivers out there, Rare Patient Voice, a supporter of the It's a Wrap with Rap podcast, is paying for your input. Patients 16 years and older and caregivers, family, and friends of any disability, disorder, syndrome, illness, or condition have the opportunity to express their opinions through surveys and interviews to improve medical products and services. Who knows your journey better than you? Rare Patient Voice puts you in touch with researchers who are developing products and services that can help you and others with your condition. These researchers need input of patients to develop products and services that have a significant impact on patients' lives. Over the past 9 years, Rare Patient Voice has paid patients over $10 million. When you join Rare Patient Voice, you may be invited to participate in interviews, surveys, or online communities where you will share your insights. Rare Patient Voice has hundreds of studies running at any time, so there are many opportunities to participate. You will earn $120 per hour or $2 a minute, depending on the length of the survey, for participating in these studies. By making your voice heard, you are a catalyst for change. Rest assured, your input will be used to help other patients like you. There is no cost at all for you to participate. You can get more information and sign up by clicking the link in the sponsor's notes of this podcast or the link provided in this announcement. On the
Okay.
couch watching TV.
Right, exactly.
I got it.
Netflix is my friend, but it does the view. That's not to say like, oh, I'm now I'm close to meeting somebody. Someone is more about having a clear understanding of who I am, what is it that I'm looking for, and therefore not wasting my time.
Yeah.
But when I am with you because I have to be with a man, I'm giving almost all of my power away because I need you.
Yeah.
I
You've
need,
been down that road. Not going down
yeah,
not going down
right.
that not going back down that road.
I saw that movie. I watched that movie. I know how it ends. I don't like it, right? Like so,
Right.
but and that's what I'm bringing to my practice as a therapist. I am sharing this with well, with everybody really, but especially with my female clients because they're like, I don't have time. Okay, but if your child had an emergency, God forbid, you're going to stop everything. You're going to make time for your kid
Right.
emergency, right?
Right.
So. And you should like. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like, well, no, I don't have time. What I'm saying, when you don't have the time, if you prioritize yourself, you're going to carve the time
Right.
because you don't have it.
Yeah.
But and that's how life passes us by because, oh, when. And then all of a sudden, we don't have tomorrow because nobody has tomorrow guaranteed.
No, that's for sure.
So it's like we have to take care of ourselves and then the best thing I can do for you, you being a friend, a partner, a family member, the best thing I can do for you is to take care of me.
Right. Yeah, that's the main priority. Now let's delve into some of the topics you as a therapist deal with on a continual basis that our audience would probably like to hear about. Let's discuss anxiety. How would you describe anxiety for us from your perspective, and what can we do to decrease it in our lives? And I had a general practitioner on the podcast, and I believe he said I don't remember the number, but a huge percentage of people going to the GP was basically for anxiety issues.
Yes. So I don't know the statistics because I'm not a doctor, but yes. So in a nutshell, anxiety is about trying to control the future, which is impossible because the future is not even here.
Right, right,
We're trying to control something that doesn't exist. Oh, what's going to happen next week with a meeting? Like, okay, we're still in this week. We're not in next week. You might die tonight, so you're not going to make it to the meeting, so don't worry about it. So my class, right? Well, if you put it that way, but no, the reality is that again, like nobody has tomorrow guaranteed. So what can you do about that meeting next week? Today is to do more research, get better prepared, take action. When you are doing something about anything that is anxiety related, if you are doing something, you are taking action, you are literally getting out of your head and into the present moment. So there's these things called grounding techniques
yes,
that if you when we practice those, so let's say that I'm thinking about the meeting next week and so the way to use a grounding technique and I'm like, oh my god, I cannot sleep and then I'm so anxious about it, whatever. Okay, I might not sleep for a week, but the meeting is not going to come anytime sooner, right? So
right,
one thing to do is take a deep breath. You make your belly like a balloon, and when you exhale, if you are in a safe environment, let's say like we are sitting in our office, you use so you take that deep breath and then you use your eyes to describe something in the room. A picture, let's say the sign behind you, or it's black and it has red letters and it says it's right, like, so the more attention I'm putting into describing that sign, the more present I am, because I cannot be thinking about the meeting and describing the sign. So I'm sending a message to the brain that I know you want to freak out about the meeting next week, but I'm the boss and we are going to describe the picture. So I am fully present. You are the CEO of your life.
Right.
So you are the one directing the meeting. Here is get the brain like, oh, it's not gonna happen. Okay, like we leave that as background noise, but we are not paying attention to it because there is the only thing that I can do about that meeting in the future is the research that I can do right now. So if I'm on the computer doing the research, I'm not in my head, I'm on the computer, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So, but we use like all the time, like, oh, what's going to happen? The weather, politics, the economy, the doctor's appointment, the test, everything we are trying to control that. And the more present we are, the more in control of. So the only thing that we have control of is our reaction and our thoughts, right? So the thoughts influence our feelings and feelings influence our behaviors. So we focus, that's why I use a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy, which focuses on the thoughts, because if I can help you identify and challenge that anxiety provoking thought, then you're not going to have the feeling and you're not going to have the behavior. So let's say, oh my God, you have the meeting, you have the annual review with your boss next week, and okay, what's what is the thought? Like, oh my God, he's gonna fire me, and what? Where are where are the arguments to support that? Like, right? Like, so, and even if that is true, you're gonna be very anxious when you get fired. You don't need to be anxious on behalf of being fired next week, right? Like, so it's more about to taking control of how my body and my mind are reacting right now. And
Okay.
instead of reacting, responding, right? Like, so when we take the emotion out of whatever situation, you take that deep breath, you ground yourself, and you take the emotion out of it. Now I can respond. Otherwise, I'm reacting, right?
Right.
Another example of a grounding technique that I use a lot for my clients is when you are driving. So let's say you are driving and you realize that, like there is traffic or there is a jam, or and you realize that you're gripping on the steering wheel really tight. Well, you need your eyes for the road. So what do you do in that case? Deep breath, and you loosen the grip on the steering wheel, and you use the tip of your fingers to describe the steering wheel. Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it soft? Is it hard? Right? You're done with the steering wheel, you describe the seat. You're done with the seat, you describe your clothes. You're still keeping your eyes on the road, but you are refocusing because, okay, so there was an accident on the highway and you cannot go anywhere. Okay, like, okay, what can you do other than take that deep breath and change your reaction? Because you can be as angry as you want, but you're still not going anywhere. So how do you react to that? And then you grab then you collect yourself, then you grab your phone, you send a message to whomever you're meeting. Hey, there's an accident on the highway, and I don't know when I'm gonna get there, right? Like whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But Again, like by taking action, describing the steering wheel, describing your clothes, you are you are refocusing your brain to right here, right now, because you are trying to control when the ambulance is going to come, when the police is going to clear the road, when are we going to keep. You have no control over that,
Right.
zero.
Yeah.
But you have 100% control over what do you do about that. How do you respond to it?
So I think what we can get out of that, what you just said, is we shouldn't worry about what we can't control. Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely. So worrying is kind of like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it doesn't take you anywhere.
It doesn't take it. You're right. You're right.
So when you are worrying about the meeting, where does that take you to have a sleepless night? But
Yeah.
it doesn't change the meeting and it doesn't bring it any closer. So absolutely,
I want to touch.
worrying about something is a waste of your time, really.
Yeah. I want to ask you, a lot of people are probably wondering, what are some of the best practice tips for people dealing with grief and loss?
Grief, in another one of my nutshells, grief is love that has nowhere to go. When let's say, but grief, we associate a lot of times we associate grief to the death of someone who we love, but grief could be the loss of a job, it could be a divorce, it could be a loss of your home, whatever, right? Like we can grieve about different situations, but let's say someone who you love passed away and you had a lot of things that are still in your heart that you couldn't tell that person, and they transitioned, they died. So one of the things that I tell my clients to do about that is to to honor the memory of that person, and to like forgive yourself for not saying I love you as many times as you will have love or whatever, is to start taking advantage of the time that you have with the other people in your life. So let's say that I didn't say I love you enough and someone close to me passed away. How I'm going to use that lesson and start using it with the people who are still here.
Okay.
So I change to start saying I love you and spending more time with the people who are still here. So I cannot go back and bring you back, but I
Right.
can learn from that and do something different with the other people in my life. And the other thing to deal with grief is, so grief doesn't, we don't move on, we move forward with grief, right? Like grief is something that is with us and is not going anywhere, but we start functioning a lot better as time goes by, not because the grief is gone, but because we become stronger. So the grief doesn't have as much of a grip on us, but the grief is always there. So let's say that.
For all those taking health supplements and those concerned with maintaining excellent health, the It's a Wrap with Rap podcast is honored to have Life Priority Health and Nutrition as a supporter of the podcast. Life Priority has been providing high quality supplements backed by science since 1994. What makes Life Priority different from other supplement companies? The scientists behind Life Priority, Dirk Pearson and Sandy Shaw, life extension scientists and designer food formulators, are independent experts in anti-aging research and brain biochemistry, and have won many awards, including the Award for Excellence in Health and Education from the Association for Holistic Health for individuals who have made special contributions to biomedical aging research. They wrote the runaway #1 national bestseller, Life Extension, A Practical Scientific Approach in 1982, which was a benchmark in the history of nutritional science and created a whole new biomedical paradigm. The book was deemed by the New York Times as the fountain of youth. Over 30 years ago, World Series champion Greg Pryor and his wife Michelle teamed up with Dirk Pearson to start Life Priority. Greg and Michelle were impressed with the integrity of the product. Dirk and Sandy actually started formulating their supplements only for their own personal use initially, so they take their products every day. Life Priority has over 50 years of collective experience in the health and nutrition industry in specific areas such as manufacturing at FDA, USDA facilities, ingredient analysis, scientific development and consulting, product knowledge and use, legal labeling, and relationships with nutritional product manufacturers. Greg and Michelle are always available to guide their customers in making their choices of formulations to take. You can call them at 800-787-5438, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. U.S. Central Time, and all your questions and concerns will be answered. Or you can set up a free consultation time on the website. Please check out the website, lifepriority.com, for detailed information on ordering products and product information. Please use the code RAP for a 10% discount on your first order. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Life Priority Nutrition does not provide medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Life Priority, established in 1994, offers supplements that are scientifically formulated, results-oriented, and generally recognized as safe and are manufactured at USDA and FDA inspected facilities.
An anniversary comes or the birthday of the loved one who transitioned. So what I always do for my people, my loved ones who passed away, like both my parents have transitioned, is like I honor them on their birthday, like by going to their favorite restaurant and order their favorite meal and making it in their honor. So it could be the same meal that you had yesterday, but the intention behind this one is different. One time I scared a lady out of the store because I bought flowers. My mom loved flowers, and it was my mom's birthday. So I bought the flowers and I followed this lady out in the parking lot, and she had soil and plants, and my mom had a green thumb. Like I look at a plant and I kill it, but my mom will just take one leaf and make a big plant out of it. So I followed this lady. And I said, I'm sorry to bother you. Would you take these flowers? She was looking at me like, who are you? And I said, would you take these flowers? It's my mom's birthday and they're to honor her. So, oh, she was crying, I was crying, and I said, I pick you. She gave me a hug, and I said, I pick you because you have soil and plants, and that is something that reminds me of my mom. And I'm sure that like I freaked her out, but at the end we were best friends, and then
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then she took the flowers, but it was to honor my mom because I didn't have my mom anymore to give the flowers to. But
Right.
I still bought the flowers. Does that make sense?
But it helped you.
But it helped me to honor her.
Yeah.
And another thing that I'm sorry, environment, but that I tell my clients to do is to get a balloon and write a message for the loved one and release the balloon,
A helium
right?
balloon. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
you are a certified master ART, which stands for Accelerated Resolution Therapy practitioner who can achieve benefits in a short period of time over depression, anxiety, and trauma. Could you please tell us about ART?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for asking. ART is very very popular on the East Coast. Not so much on the West Coast, but we are trying to change that. So when something traumatic happens, let's say a car accident, the brain creates a movie out of that accident, and anytime that it gets triggered, it plays a movie. Like let's say you are going through the same intersection and it, your brain is triggered, so it plays the movie of the accident, although it's not happening right now, which creates a lot of anxiety. So what the ART technique does, it uses eye movement. So I'll be guiding your eyes to follow my hand, and I will be guiding you into watching the movie of the traumatic event two times. And you're like, no, I don't want to remember. Like, we are doing that to bring all the feelings with a goal of changing them. So after you watch the movie twice, I will be guiding you into you changing the movie and using the eye movements to create a new movie. So let's say that your new movie is that the collision didn't happen, that the other car stopped, that you were not at that intersection, however you want to change it. So we use the eye movements to kind of like create that movie. So now, before you created the new movie, your brain had channel 3 with the movie of the accident. Now your brain has channel 5 with a new movie. So anytime that it gets triggered, it's going to play the new movie that you created.
Ah,
So it's very, very effective for, I'm oversimplifying it to explain it, but it's very effective for traumatic events, but it's also effective for, let's say, someone who is experiencing anxiety that is interfering with the daily life. That will be the movie. Will be from when you wake up until you go to bed. That will be the movie that we're going to change. So then on the changing the movie, you wake up in your new movie. You wake up and you are energized, and you are overcoming the anxiety, and you do all the things that you will do if you didn't have the anxiety, and we kind of like create that reality for your brain.
okay.
I have been using it since 2017, I think,
Wow.
and it's very, very effective.
Very
So
effective.
what, for a traumatic event that might take years of talk therapy, in 1 to 5 sessions you're a lot better.
Wow. Let me move on. Okay. So we're getting short on time, but and I could be sitting here all day with you talking about this stuff. Why do you think, in your professional opinion, people seem to be on edge, short-tempered nowadays? And what can we individually do to deal with it as it affects all of us? And I just had this situation the other day. We were in a parking lot and we were asking the security man in a car what the best way to get out of the parking lot and get onto a road. And he was very nice. He stopped, he pulled down his window, he told us. And the guy behind him was just honking the horn. I mean, he didn't want us to have this conversation at all. I mean, this we're talking about a minute conversation. I'm not talking about sitting there for 5 minutes. So my wife yelled out the window, she said, that's very rude what you just did. And he had a real, bad word to say, you know, and I thought, this is common. This is every day. People are,
Mhm.
so what do you think's going on?
So he was, this person behind you, he was personalizing. He was making it about him,
Yeah.
right? Like that. Oh, so anytime that we get angry about anything, I'm making it about me.
Yeah.
You are rude to me, and it's like, oh, why are you rude? Like, you are rude because you are rude. Like, it has nothing to do with me. You're an equal opportunity offender. So it's not like you're gonna get rude to me. You're rude to everybody. But I get upset because you're rude to me, and it's like, because I'm making it about me when in reality it's about you. So this person behind the security officer, he could have like drove around. He could have reversed. He could have been like, "Hey, sorry, I'm in a rush," whatever. But
Right.
he chose to react, not to respond, to react, like, yeah, move, like, blah, blah, blah. And then by your wife mentioning the obvious, It
Yeah.
made it even more personal, right? Like, so he has something to say to your wife now because now she made it about her, right? So, but she was stating the obvious. But the point is that if we learn how to depersonalize, so you don't make it about you. Your wife made it about her. That's
Yeah.
why she got involved because he was honking at the security officer, not at her. She might have felt guilty because you were stopping the officer, right?
Right.
But then she's saying like, "Oh, you are rude." Yeah, not we already know he's rude. No need to get involved. So let's say that you I you're going you're driving down the road and I cut you off and you're like, oh my god, are you blind? Didn't you see me? You don't respect, like nobody respects like the traffic law. Yeah, gone day and I don't even know who you are and I'm gone because that's why I cut you off. But I can ruin your day if you allow me to. But what if I invite you to think, oh, she was in a rush because her mom had a heart attack? Would you feel differently about it?
Mhm.
The situation is the same. I still cut you off. Well, that's not realistic. Okay, but you don't know why I cut you off. So, do you want to choose the one that makes your day miserable, or do you want to choose the one that brings compassion and brings you back to your day? And because if you think that I'm rushing to the so what I'm trying to say is the situation didn't change. It's what we think about the situation
Right.
that creates the feeling.
Right.
So we don't know if the guy needed was in a rush to go to the hospital, right? Most likely not. Right. If your wife would have thought that, maybe she wouldn't she wouldn't tell him, "Oh, you're rude," because
Right.
it's like, "Oh my God," like she's feeling compassion. But the thing is about you. How do you which thought are you going to choose? The
Hmm.
one that brings you compassion and joy, or the one that ruins your day? So I'm an old lady. I drive like very slow. And one time, like I seen more fingers, middle fingers that I can count. Cause like I'm like, you are in a rush, not me. So the closer you get to me, the slower I go. So you had to go around me, right? Like it's like you're in a rush, like I have time to get anywhere. So they will pass me and and I'm like, I didn't know I was that powerful to ruin your entire day. Yay for me. I don't even know who you are. Why are you taking it personal? Do you know that I'm driving slow because I was in an accident and I have PTSD? Do you know that I'm driving slow because I ran over a dog and now I'm very cautious? Like,
Yeah.
why are you making it about you? Like you don't know anything about me. So when when we see people who are on edge, let's say you and I will work together, you come in and you're like, "Oh, good morning, Zulma." Oh, don't talk to me. You're gonna be like, "Okay." So if you stay and you start arguing with me, why did you respond like that? I just came in, blah blah blah. You make it about you. But if you walk away, go to your desk, most likely I will go to you later and say, "Hey, Ron, I'm so sorry. I snapped at you. It has nothing to do with you. My kid was sick. I didn't sleep. My apologies." Of course, you know it had nothing to do with you. You just walked in,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But if you stay and we engage in that argument, I'm gonna drop everything that I'm frustrated about on you because you're right there.
Yeah.
But if you walk away and you leave me with my own misery, is what I call taking the trash can. If I give you my trash can and you take the trash can, it's not my trash anymore. Now you have it.
Right.
So if you stay there and we start arguing back and forth, you are taking my trash. But by walking away, you leave me with my own trash. And I'm like, oh, oops, I snapped it wrong. And he just walked in.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the path you
So,
want to take for sure.
right, right.
Yeah. Uh, what would you say to people out there, Zulma, who are avoiding therapy, perhaps because they think there's a stigma attached to receiving it? What would you say to those people listening to this?
Asking for help is the strongest thing that you can do. So I'll always say, like, we go to the primary care physician to have an annual checkup, and if we don't, we should. But nobody's thinking any of that. But oh my God, if I go to the therapist, right? Like, so therapy is not only for when you have a crisis. Therapy is what going to the gym to avoid a heart attack is to the body. Going to the therapist to avoid a mental breakdown is that's what therapy is. So we are working on our mental health. So I always say my job as a therapist is to provide you with a different perspective because when you are in the picture, you cannot see the picture. So by going to therapy and having that neutral person, well, I talk to my friends. Your friends are unconditionally on your side, even if they don't want to be. Most of them are going to be unconditionally on your side. My role as a therapist is to be there, like helping you find your own answers. Like I don't have the answers for you. I barely know what to do with my own life, let alone tell you what to do with yours. But we are going to find the answers together. So I'm going to be guiding you into finding your own answers.
Okay.
I tell people who, when they take the biggest step of starting therapy and they start like, oh, my wife needs therapy and my mom needs therapy, and the best thing to the best way to approach that is to share with those people what therapy is doing for you. Let's say that I say, okay, Ron, go to the gym. You're like, okay, let's go together. No, no, no. I don't go to the gym. You need to go to the gym. You're going to be like, excuse me? But if I say, hey, I start going to the gym, I feel better, I feel more energized, it might inspire you
Uh-huh.
to start going to the gym. So don't tell people you need therapy. Just tell people how therapy is helping you. And that might inspire other people to actually, the people in therapy are in therapy for the people who don't go to therapy.
Yeah, yeah. Isn't that
So,
true?
uh, but the stigma, the best way to break the stigma is to do it. So thinking that you are weak, and especially for males, like, oh my God, like, no, reaching out for help and realizing that you actually, I want to say this, you can do it alone, but why would you?
Yeah, right.
You
Right.
don't
I
have
mean,
to.
I agree with you. I think it takes more courage to make yourself vulnerable and to go. Then I think you're weak if you just say, "Oh, I don't want to go. I'm afraid, I don't want to be like a sissy or whatever." I mean,
Right,
that's
right.
just stupid, I mean, it's
But
you're
but
being weak.
it's
You're being weak. You're
right.
not getting
Well,
help.
you're not being practical because again, like if you can get the help, like why do you want to? I mean, we can walk anywhere, or we can take the bus, or we can jump in the car and be there in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But if you walk, it's going to take you 3 hours. More power to you. But why aren't you practical if you have a car available and jump
Exactly.
in the car and be there in 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so, it's like uh, it's a very personal thing, and especially for men, and especially for men in the military. Like I
Yes.
wanted to
Yes.
make it mandatory that everybody in the military should be mandated to do therapy because then if it's mandated, then you had to do it. Everybody's doing it, right?
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that because this podcast does uh, delve into that subject of military suicide.
Mm,
and we've had several podcasts on it. And the reason a lot of the men don't seek the therapy is number one, when they're in the military, they're trained to suck it up, you know,
yes,
and you got to go. I don't care if
yes,
your elbow hurts. You suck it up. And a lot of the fellows in the military are from military families and their predecessors, that was their mentality. And if you
absolutely.
need to go to therapy, I mean, what's wrong with you? We don't go to
Right.
therapy. So yeah, and that has to change. That just has to change.
And also it can affect their future in the military, right? Like if they
Right.
use their insurance and there is a mental health diagnosis, I still encourage people to do cash pay, so there is no, the military doesn't need to know, right? Like, but you're still getting the help that you need.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Zulma, how can people contact you if they want to contact you? And let me ask
Yes,
you one
thank you.
other question before you answer that. If they contact you and want your services, you're licensed in Nevada. Can you still help them even though they're on
If
Zoom?
they're in a different state, I cannot personally do therapy with them, but I'm be more than happy to provide resources. So, like, even if they're not in Nevada, but yes, you bring a great point. Like, I'm only licensed here in Nevada, so the client needs to be in the state of Nevada to receive services from me. But if anybody listening has a question, please reach out to me. I'll do my best to provide you with resources if I cannot uh, do it myself. My website is dragonflytherapyservices.net, and my Instagram is the swearing therapist. On my Instagram, I have rated R videos on mental health. So just be careful if you have children in the car. Don't be
Okay.
listening. But
So that website is Dragonfly
therapyservices.net.
Therapy Services.net. Instagram is the swearing therapist, I would assume.
Yes.
And that will be in the podcast notes for everybody.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, we'll put that in there. Now, lastly, I wish we had more time. We could go on forever, I'm sure. What is the one thing you would like to tell people about themselves that they need to appreciate the most and understand holistically how much God wants them to be free from the negative aspects of trauma, anxiety, and depression?
If you woke up today, that means that your mission in life is not complete. So you ask God for help in pushing through this day. And again, if this day is too long, pushing through 1 hour. And if 1 hour is too long, pushing through those 15 minutes at a time. So keep pushing through. You have overcome 100% of your challenges. And I will invite you to look back at those times where you didn't know how you were going to wake up tomorrow, but yet you did, and realize that it's always been inside of you. So this challenge is not going to take you either, just like the other ones didn't. So just keep praying, keep pushing through, and the world is a better place because of your light. That is different than mine, that is different than yours, right? Like we all have our own light. The world will not be the same without you.
Excellent, excellent advice. I want to thank you very much, Zulma, for being on the podcast and sharing your story, educating us on the importance of mental health and this topic that affects so many of us today. I wish you nothing but success and as you move forward in your work to help people. And
Thank you.
I hope you have we were talking about this earlier. I hope you have a nice summer and it's not too It's not
that
too
I
hot
don't
out,
melt.
not too hot out there for you. But once again, I mean, we could have gone on. I have so many more questions. We just ran out of time.
we,
But
we can do this again. Let's do it again.
we're gonna have you back on. Yes, we're gonna
Let's
have
do part two.
we're gonna have you back on. Comments and suggestions for the podcast, please email me at it's a wrap with rap at gmail.com. You can join our Facebook group. It's a wrap with rap. We have it is a private group, so you'll have to email me and we'll let you in. Instagram, it's a wrap with rap podcast. Twitter or X at rapper, WRAPPER 130. Our website is it's a wrap with rap.com. Our YouTube channel is It's a Wrap with Rap, the podcast uncut. All the episodes are on YouTube. And I want to thank everyone for listening or viewing. I want everybody to please stay safe. And for now, it's a wrap.